So, dear friends, ladies and gentlemen, the International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace that was established in 2018 through UN General Assembly resolution is the reaffirmation of the principles of the multilateral decision-making and diplomacy in achieving peaceful resolutions. Echoing it and given that our movement is a bastion of multilateralism, in 2019, we, the members of the non-aligned movement UNESCO chapter, have decided to designate 24th of April as also a NAM Day. We're happy to have with us today Mr. Wabir Tukhtabayev, who represents the Assistant Director General, Mr. Matoko, for Priority Africa and External Relations, and Dr. Bellatrix Linda Onegu, Deputy Permanent Delegate of Namibia to UNESCO, on behalf of the Ambassador of Namibia, Chair of the African Group, to share a few remarks at this first edition of NAM Day. Dear friends, throughout its history, the non-aligned movement has played a fundamental role in strengthening international peace and security, in accordance with Bandung principles. These principles underpin the Charter of the United Nations and the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Since the very first day of its founding, our movement has been committed to preserve and strengthen the values of multilateralism and international cooperation. Azerbaijan has assumed the chairmanship of NAM at a very critical moment for the humanity. Today we are facing a global health crisis that is a human crisis, a crisis that is spreading human suffering and disrupting our lives at their core. The global emergency caused by COVID-19 has demanded rapid and effective responses from all of us. In order to contribute to global efforts to address the unprecedented universal impact of the pandemic and to find ways to provide rapid, adequate, and inclusive assistance to non-member states, Azerbaijan, as chair of NAM, convened a special session of the UN General Assembly, as well as the online summit-level meeting of the NAM contact group in response to COVID-19 on the theme United Against COVID-19. As a result of this meeting, a working group on the response of COVID-19 developed a database of humanitarian and medical needs and requirements of NAM member states in their fight against COVID-19. Today, WHO uses the movement database as one of its reference points for identifying the needs of our movement. As chair of our movement, we also raise the issue of disparity in the distribution of COVID-19 vaccines between developing and developed countries and the international level. Surely, recently adopted Human Rights Council resolution will assist to the facilitation process of vaccines accessibility for all. As per UNESCO, NAM spares no efforts to support the activities of our noble organization. Final Baku Declaration of the NAM Heads of States and the Government of 2019 outlined more than 100 items dedicated to the outstanding issues that African states are facing. Other items focused on gender equality, education, and other principal areas of UNESCO's mandate. Using this opportunity, I would like to invite all of you to celebrate Jazz Women on the occasion of International Jazz Day, which is on April 30th, organized by UNESCO, Division for Gender Equality. Having gender equality and Africa as global priorities, UNESCO is committed to ensuring that African women fully enjoy their rights to access, participate in, and contribute to cultural life. NAM chairmanship always stands with these kind of brilliant initiatives, which aim to make our joint endeavors directed to well-being and human satisfaction stronger, more visible, effective, and well-heard. Because the strength of us is in our solidarity and unity. As we celebrate the Day of Multilateralism, I'd like to say that we need these values today more than ever before. I'm convinced that through multilateralism, we can counter the serious challenges of the contemporary world, and in particular, fight against the negative impacts of COVID-19. Chers amis, la vie, le développement et les droits fondamentaux de l'homme sont liés et se renforcent mutuellement. Et dans la mesure où nous embrassons le multilatéralisme, une paix durable pour le monde sera assurée. Mais la paix ne peut être un temps ou imposée s'il n'y a pas de justice et de respect du droit international. Le succès du multilatéralisme dépend de la stricte adhésion à la lettre et l'esprit du droit international, du rejet des doubles standards et des approches sélectives, du refus d'une interprétation malveillante de certains normes et principes. Nous croyons qu'il y a multilatéralisme et la coopération inclusive entre les États membres sont des facteurs clés pour réaliser les priorités de l'UNESCO. Nous sommes déterminés à promouvoir la tolérance et le respect de la diversité culturelle, à rechercher un terrain d'attente entre les civilisations et au sein de celles-ci pour relever les défis communs aux valeurs partagées et aux droits de l'homme universel et à lutter contre le racisme et la discrimination par la coopération, le partenariat et l'inclusion, le pluralisme, la tolérance, le dialogue et la compréhension de la diversité religieuse et culturelle sont essentiels à la paix et la harmonie. En tant que phare défenseur du dialogue interculturel et du multiculturalisme, qui est une priorité politique de l'État en Azerbaïdjan, mon pays ne ménage pas ses efforts pour partager sa riche expérience avec les autres membres de la communauté internationale. Nous sommes fiers d'affirmer que le processus de Bakou, lancé en 2008 à l'initiative du président de la République d'Azerbaïdjan, Son Excellence M. Aliyev, est devenu une plateforme mondialement reconnue pour la promotion du dialogue interculturel. Dans le cadre de ce processus, l'Azerbaïdjan accueille tous les 2 ans le Forum mondial de Bakou sur le dialogue interculturel, dont l'UNESCO est le principal partenaire aux côtés d'autres agences des Nations Unies et d'autres agences internationales. Le processus de Bakou comprend un échange de vues ouvertes et respectueux entre des individus et des groupes d'origine et d'héritage ethnique, culturel, religieux et linguistique vivant sur différents continents, sur la base de la compréhension et du respect mutuel. Nous voyons le même esprit et la même idée dans les biennales de Luanda, Forum panafricain pour la culture de la paix. Dans ce sens, il est nécessaire et fiable de créer la synergie particulière entre le processus de Bakou et les biennales de Luanda, étant un instrument pour le pays. La tolérance, la coexistence, le respect des droits de l'homme et la promotion de l'identité et de la diversité culturelle des peuples. Cette synergie pourrait créer un dialogue plus fort entre les civilisations, la culture de la paix et les dialogues interreligieux. C'est dans cet esprit que nous soutenons la politique de priorité Afrique de l'UNESCO et sommes prêts à apporter nos contributions. Je voudrais également évoquer la question de l'égalité entre l'homme et la femme. Nous devons nous soutenir toutes les initiatives qui visent à améliorer la situation des femmes et des filles dans les sociétés et conforter leur position dans la diplomatie multilatérale. À ce propos, l'Azerbaïdjan soutient vivement la politique de l'UNESCO concernant l'éducation des femmes et des filles. Dans le cadre d'accords cadres signés entre l'Azerbaïdjan et l'UNESCO, plusieurs projets de l'organisation ont été déjà financés par un pays dans les différents domaines, en particulier le projet axé sur l'éducation des filles, l'égalité entre l'homme et la femme et l'égalité dans l'éducation en Afrique. Enfin, sur l'ensemble, pour contrer les défis et avancer plus loin. Monsieur Bobir, Dr. Baer, maintenant je voudrais vous donner la parole au nom de Monsieur Matoko, sous-directeur général de l'UNESCO, et la parole est à vous.
Monsieur le Président du groupe États membres du mouvement des non-alignés chapitre UNESCO, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs, délégués permanents auprès de l'UNESCO, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, je souhaite tout d'abord adresser mes plus vifs remerciements à Son Excellence Monsieur l'ambassadeur Emin d'avoir invité l'UNESCO à se joindre à cette célébration de la journée du NAM chapitre UNESCO. Je souhaite vous présenter les vœux plus chaleureux de l'UNESCO en cette occasion et remercier le NAM pour son soutien constant envers l'organisation, en particulier par ces temps difficiles où nous devons faire front commun face à la pandémie et à la terrible crise qui affecte le monde entier. Créé il y a plus de 50 ans, le mouvement des non-alignés a œuvré sans relâche pour la construction d'un ordre mondial juste et équitable. Faire coïncider la célébration de la journée du NAM avec la journée internationale du multilatéralisme et de la diplomatie au service de la paix proclamée par les Nations Unies en 2018 est une manifestation palpable. Depuis le début de la pandémie, l'UNESCO a contribué activement aux efforts de la communauté internationale pour faire face à la crise qu'elle générait, affectant de manière tragique la vie des milliers de femmes et de l'homme de tous les continents. La violence de cette crise a mis à nu la fragilité de la planète et a creusé la fracture sociale de l'ordre multiple, augmentant ainsi davantage les inégalités et menaçant les progrès dans la mise en œuvre de ODD. l'UNESCO a su s'adapter pour relever ces nouveaux défis, s'appuyant sur son processus de transformation stratégique initié en 2018, renforçant ses actions sur le terrain à travers ses réseaux de bureaux régionaux et de multiples partenariats, y compris avec les grandes familles onusiennes. Cette approche a permis à l'organisation de proposer des solutions plus adaptées, de continuer de défendre son mandat et de consolider sa place au sein du système des Nations Unies. Nous l'avons fait avec les efforts conjugués de nos États membres, nos partenaires, nos équipes, ainsi bien au siège que sur le terrain, ainsi que tous les réseaux de partenaires comprenant ainsi aussi les organisations intergouvernementales comme le NAM, dont le soutien nous est précieux. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the 211th session of the Executive Board of UNESCO that concluded its work last week has reaffirmed the willingness and strength of UNESCO in joining the international community to build back better and to lay the foundation towards a more just, inclusive, and equitable recovery. Indeed, after an enlarged cycle of consultations with member states and many other partners, including UNESCO national commissions, we were able to present to the board a new draft medium-term strategy and draft program and budget. Both will be submitted to the endorsement of the 41st session of the General Conference that will meet late in November and will sustain us during the decade for action and even beyond it. Fully aligned with the international community transformative ambition and the 2030 agenda, our new medium-term strategy gives priority to a limited number of domains where UNESCO has a recognized comparative advantage and strategic leadership and expertise, notably in the field of education, people and nature, knowledge and understanding of others, and orientation of technological revolutions to ensure that they serve the common good. These four thematic axes are part of the strengthened, interlinked approach and combined synergies. It is also meant to reinforce our main priorities, gender and Africa, towards a recovery where no one is left behind. So far, Africa has been less affected by the pandemic itself, but the continent is being severely affected by the COVID-19 consequences and its multidimensional crisis. This unseen crisis caused a greater disruption in education systems, leaving millions of boys and girls at risk of getting out of school, increasing unemployment, worsening digital divide and digital literacy, and severely hitting cultural and creative industries in the continent. UNESCO has mobilized its partners to reverse effects of these multiple crises in Africa and is progressing broader interdisciplinary and integrated solutions that are more adapted to each local reality. For instance, through International Coalition for Education, 30 countries in Africa have been supported to ensure the continuity of access to education. The medium-term strategy is also an opportunity to define the new vision that can create synergies and enhance coordination to achieve the objectives set in 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and the Agenda 2063 of the African Union, as well as those of other regional development frameworks, through a broader interdisciplinary and integrated approach to sustainable development, peace, and security in Africa. Mr. President, dear ambassadors, we have so many and important challenges at stake, but our collective commitment will be our strength to overcome them. As the United Nations Secretary General says, and I quote, "The COVID-19 must be a wake-up call for greater multilateral cooperation and solidarity." End of quote. More than a world solidarity is action. Therefore, UNESCO joined its voice with World Health Organization and other international institutions to pledge for equitable access to vaccines against COVID-19, considered as a public good. Mr. President, this is a key challenge for 2021 and the coming years for recovery. Moving to an era of global recovery needs us as humans to reconcile ourselves with the nature, preserve biodiversity, take care of our oceans, allow each and every human being to profit from the results of research, access to clean water and affordable health care to all, and reinforce capacities of South and less developed countries in this regard. Recovery needs us to invest and put education for climate change at the heart of international agenda for climate action. This will be the aim of the UNESCO World Conference on Education for Sustainable Development, which will take place in Berlin, Germany in May next. Building back better will require more just, more peace, and more security. This can only be achieved if human rights are fully integrated into all dimensions of recovery development plans. We must fight all forms of discrimination and racism and promote citizenship education, areas where UNESCO is fully engaged. To build back better, we need to fight disinformation and hate speech through ensuring higher quality information for all by supporting free and pluralistic media. We must consider quality information as a public good. This theme was chosen for the central act of the World Press Freedom Day to be held 3rd of May in Windhoek, Namibia, in the presence of the Director General. To build back better, we need to foster intercultural dialogue and understanding among peoples of one of the purposes of the International Jazz Day, which is celebrated worldwide this Thursday, 30th of April. Meanwhile, I'm sure we will all enjoy the forecast of the Jazz Day here with you today. As we look to the future, fostering dialogue and building confidence across all the above areas is central to our common goal. UNESCO counts on your excellencies and on NAM's commitment to advancing organization mandate on these as well as many other issues at the center of our agenda to achieve a sustainable, peaceful and just recovery for all. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdullayev. So I have the pleasure to invite Dr. Beatrix, who represents today the ambassador of Namibia, who is also the chair of the African Group. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Excellency, Ambassador of Azerbaijan and the chair of the non-aligned movement, distinguished representative of Mr. Matoko, ATG Africa, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the UNESCO Africa Group, let me thank you, President of the NAM UNESCO chapter, for your kind invitation to the 2021 NAM Day celebrations under the theme Peace, Multilateralism and Priority Africa. This theme is highly appropriate in the uncertain times the world finds itself due to the prevailing global health challenges, notwithstanding the opportunities it presents for developing countries. Inherent to the challenges imposed by COVID-19 pandemic is the importance of strong solidarity and cooperation anchored in the very tenets of multilateralism as also enshrined by the 10 principles of Bandung. More than ever, strengthening international law in adherence to respect for sovereignty, territorial unity and integrity of states, and non-interference in internal affairs are essential for multilateralism in the world that is increasingly becoming unstable politically and economically. Indeed, the strong South-South cooperation and solidarity demonstrated by the non-aligned movement throughout its existence are indicative of its critical role in advancing multilateralism, more so at this time when the very fabric of multilateralism is challenged. Development-oriented South-South cooperation in the framework of UNESCO in search of technical solutions are imperatives in the midst of the rapid technological advancements and needs. This is because technology-based development solutions present challenges that need global solutions underpinned by commonly agreed values, including the right to health and safety, the right to development, human rights, while respecting political and security issues. Modern-day multilateralism is characterized by this kind of needs that further emphasize the important role of the non-aligned movement as a platform for promoting unity amongst countries of the developing world in order to effectively address both long-standing and emerging global challenges of this nature. In this context, multilateralism should provide multifaceted approaches for tackling global issues by developing unifying solutions as instruments of peace, tolerance, and coexistence anchored in the values of human rights and dignity. This demonstrates the very premise on which the non-aligned movement was founded and highlights the imperative for the NAM UNESCO chapter. The UNESCO Africa Group has advocated for UNESCO Global Priority Africa to be positioned centrally in the upcoming program and budget of UNESCO, with the aim to take greater advantage of multilateral cooperation in the framework of UNESCO. UNESCO-wide support for Global Priority Africa is yet another demonstration of international commitment to Africa and highlights the premise that multilateral cooperation should promote endogenous solutions. This support was evidently also demonstrated by the NAM UNESCO chapter and personally by its chair, and its testimony of the long-standing commitment of the non-aligned movement to promote multilateral cooperation for international peace and security. On the other hand, Global Priority Africa affirmed its priorities as measures of its commitment to UNESCO functional mandate by focusing on scientific advancements, preservation of culture and traditions, while underlining education as the overall foundation to ensure successful cooperation. These African priorities create excellent avenues for South-South cooperation, whereas African countries and we look forward to forge increased cooperation with NAM UNESCO chapter. I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martis. We've approached to the end of our official time, so I'd like to thank UNESCO as well as the chair of the African group, for this inspiring remarks. And I would like to use the opportunity to invite you to listen to jazz, classical jazz music as part of our cultural program at the performance of Mr. Etibar Asadli. Thank you.
you.